Sup? Welcome to part 3 of how to get people to pay you to do things. If you missed part 1, it was about resumes and cover letters. You can watch that here. If you missed part 2, that was about actually looking for and applying for jobs. You can also watch that here. This is part 3, where we're talking about interviews. I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn recently, and they said, hey, I got this interview. I don't know if I'm qualified for this job. Should I take the interview? My answer is always, indubitably, si, senor. You should take that job, because the worst possible outcome of going to an interview for a job that you're underqualified for is that you get more experience interviewing, and interviewing is a skill. And today we're going to talk about some of the basics, everything from what to wear, what to bring, and how to act. So let's get right into it. The first question that comes to my mind when I think about an interview is, what the heck should I wear? And I'll make it easy for you guys. Dress shirt, nice jeans or slacks with a belt, and some nice shoes. You don't have to go over the top. If you want to wear a tie, wear a tie. A suit, I would say, is a little bit of overkill. I had one boss one time where I wore a suit to the interview, and he told me specifically to never wear a suit again. So keep it simple, business casual, look that up. You can wear dress shoes or like nice tennis shoes that look like dress shoes. That's fine too. But just as important as what to wear, and perhaps more often missed, is personal hygiene. Now, I would strongly recommend that if you have facial hair, that you groom that, trim it, do whatever you need to do, shave the parts that shouldn't be there, like you're neared. Just make it look good. If you have hair on your head, get a haircut and get a fresh haircut. You know, go in looking sharp, looking clean. This will definitely impress your employers. Hopefully they don't judge you just based off how you look, but it doesn't hurt to make a good impression. Also, wear some deodorant, maybe some cologne. You know, that doesn't hurt either. You don't want them smelling you during the interview. The second thing that comes to mind is how to prepare, and this is a very underrated part of interviews, and I would strongly recommend that you prepare questions for your interviewers. You're turning the tables on them, see? Because it's just as important for you to get to know your potential future employer as it is for them to get to know you. And the more thoughtful and intentional your questions are, the better of an impression you'll make. If you really want to impress them, look up their company, research them, find out about some big projects or big deals that they've been doing, and ask questions about those. Ask, how did this project go? Or I saw that you're partnered with such and such company. How did you guys get into that business relationship? Something like that. A really good open-ended question for someone that's interviewing you is, what is your vision for this business? Now, maybe you just have a superior that's not very high up in the ranks of the company. So you could ask them, you know, what is your vision for this department? Or what is your vision for this team? And that is a really good way to gauge if they themselves are personally invested in their job, or if they're just kind of there, just doing what they're doing and collecting a paycheck. I would print these questions out and leave a gap underneath and bring them on a clipboard or in a binder or something like that, so that you can actually write down answers that they might say, because you might forget everything that happened in the interview once you walk out of that room because of all that nervous energy. But in any case, it'll also help distract you if you're super nervous and you want to just turn your gaze and write some stuff down as they're speaking. Obviously, you still want to make good eye contact, but it could be helpful to have something to write on as you're questioning them. If your interviewers don't give you an opportunity to ask questions, that's kind of a yellow flag, but you can always ask. You can always ask to ask questions. Obviously, along with your prepared questions, you will want to bring your resume. Now, I would recommend that you bring at least 3 copies, because depending on how many people are interviewing you, you're going to want to have enough resumes to hand out to each person. If they're well prepared, they'll probably have a copy of it themselves or a digital device that they're viewing it on, but just in case, you're covering their butt, and that makes you look good, and I'm sure they'll appreciate it if you can just hand them the resume and you guys can look over it together and and talk about it. That being said, I do have a lot of advice on resumes in my other video. One step of preparation is to look at the resume that you gave to them that made them want to interview you and make sure that you are comfortable answering questions about every single item on there, because you don't know what they might ask about, and you want to make sure that you have a well-prepared answer to give more insight and a more in-depth explanation of any skills that you listed, any experience that you have. Be ready to talk about it. I would strongly suggest that you even practice answering questions, whether that's by yourself in the mirror, to your mom, to a friend. It doesn't really matter. Preferably someone that loves you and can give you good constructive criticism without tearing down your identity to its very core and making you cry. Again, practice answering those questions. Don't just do it once, do it 2 or 3 times. Do it until you feel like you are accurately expressing yourself the way that you want to. And you can tailor it to the interview. You can tailor it to the job, and you can even go on LinkedIn and try to figure out who's going to be interviewing you if you don't already know, and see what their interests are. See what their posts are about, see what their hobbies are like. Don't stalk them, but try to find common ground with your interviewer, because if you can bring up something that they're interested in during the interview and let them do most of the talking, they will feel like they just had such a great time with you. It's just a fact of human interaction that when you ask someone thoughtful questions and allow them space to respond, they enjoy themselves. I mean, people enjoy talking about themselves. It's human nature. So the more you can get your interviewers to talk, the less you have to talk. And if you're someone that's nervous and not comfortable saying a lot, then ask lots of good questions. This will fill up the time in the interview, and again, they'll feel like they had a great experience. Now, a lot of you that are watching this video are probably in the early stages of your information technology related career. And I would suggest that you get creative with how you answer technical questions, experience-related, technical-related, and skill-related questions. Some of you will be tempted to exaggerate over the top and flat out lie about what you've done. Don't do that. You don't want your employer's expectations to be higher than what you're actually capable of, because that will just come back to bite you. Some of you will be tempted to undersell yourselves and say that you have no experience, you've never done anything like this before, it's your first IT job, and a lot of that can be true, but I would argue that you have some related experiences, even if they weren't in a professional setting, working at an IT job. So what I'm trying to say is, take whatever you have. If you have installed your own graphics card on your gaming computer at home, and you had to install drivers and do some whatever Googling to figure something out, tell them about that. That is exactly what help desk is. You figure stuff out. If you don't know the answer, you ask your colleagues, you look at documentation, and you Google stuff, and you figure it out, and you provide solutions, and you solve problems. I can almost guarantee that you have experience doing that kind of thing, just in a different context. So consider before the interview, consider your experiences throughout your life. Have you helped your grandma get on the Wi-Fi? Have you helped your mom figure out how to sign into her old Gmail account, recovering a password? All that stuff is totally translatable into an early stage IT position. If you've done home lab stuff, that's even better. And I would definitely list that on your resume and be ready to talk about that and be ready to take them through step by step what you set up and how you did it and what you learned. And all that stuff is great. That will be a really good sign to your employer that you take this seriously, you spend your own time on it, you're eager to learn and grow. Any experience that you can relate to the potential job will help you to stand out and show your employers that you're serious. Now, I'm sure some of you are still wondering, is that enough? And my answer to that is watch this video to figure out how you can do more things to create your own experience. And if you want to just jump straight into a home lab that you could do right now if you have the equipment, then watch this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.